Hello, anybody viewing this? A Knife Stow here, bringing you a knife summary of a knife I've done a review on. This is the Artisan Xcellerator by Snody, I believe, Designs. This is a large knife. We're looking at AR-RPM 9 blade steel, contoured micarta scales, liner lock, on bearings, with a titanium pocket clip. And as you can see, yeah, this is a pretty big knife. I mean, your grip area is made out to be in here, but you can go up here, you can go kind of back here. It's a big one. How big? About 3 inches and 7/8 of blade. Almost 3 3/4 of cutting edge, and 9 inches overall. Pretty much on the dot. It's a full size to a large knife. I'd in fact classify this as a large knife. It definitely has presence, and it definitely has girth, I guess. With this kind of short harpoon drop point blade, lots of belly. You can get up close to the behind the edge, and it looks less accommodating than it actually is. It does. Great action. That might partially be the weight of the blade. It is a decently thick blade. The plunge grind could be a bit better. It definitely kind of hits the edge, honestly, so it definitely could be better, but the stop pin is far enough away. It is in a bad position because it is technically behind the edge, but it is far enough away from the edge that I think you could probably just enhance the size of that choil and be perfectly fine, because it doesn't hit until like back here. So yeah, you should be fine for extending that if you don't want to smile. It is on the thicker side. It's not the thinnest. I mean, it doesn't have the tallest grind, but it's a more of a robust knife. It still cuts pretty decently, and you should be able to get a little bit of, I mean, I don't know. It's not a knife that I'd say is going to give you the longest lifespan, just because of how thick it does get, how quickly it gets there. For your sort of standard EDC pocket knife, not necessarily having to be a slicer, but just a everyday sort of roundabout knife. But you get some life out of it. You probably get up to about there, which is a decent amount of life, honestly, so fair enough. I have never actually had a chance to sharpen the AR-RPM 9 from Artisan, their budget steel, so I cannot attest to how it does, how long it holds an edge. This one still has its factory edge, but I also haven't exactly beat on it, so yeah, take that with a grain of salt. If you're looking for how long that steel's going to last, let's all be completely honest and give a shout out to Jared Nees. I mean, he's probably someone you would want to look at, or maybe even Stasa 23. They're more likely to do the full-on cut test, and they're much bigger channels than me, so don't go watch them. Watch me instead. No. But I would appreciate the occasional view here and there, because I am a much smaller channel, and maybe I can become a little bit larger. Though I don't think I'd ever want to be, like, their size. I'm completely honest with you. Like, just big enough to have companies occasionally send something in to check out and support my own knife collecting. I'm happy. Certainly not there, but I would be happy there. Where was I? Because I digressed into nonsense, which is pretty par for the course, right? Opening aperture. There's some jimping up here. It kind of performs offers a little bit of grip, but yeah, it's pretty softened. The stonewash is pretty heavy. The edges are pretty knocked down. It's not really doing much of anything. And of course, the reverse and thumb flick are the only ways to open this knife. And they work quite well. As I said, the micarta is contoured, which is nice to see and nice to feel. They use pretty decent quality micarta, I'd say, Artisan. The liner lock has great access, which is nice, and also where the blade edge actually starts seems to be pretty avoidable when you're disengaging this thing towards the top. So you're not even having it nick your nail, though it is not a nail nick. In any way, I guess, shape and form, it does not meet that criteria, does it now? No. But that's hopefully calculated and a nice touch, because it works well. Just a little bit of chamfering on that. Great. Stands proud, no problems whatsoever. The clip, being a titanium just sort of, well, slightly curved popsicle stick, is kind of what makes this thing... I think it was probably a necessity on this design because of how thin it gets back here. Any other kind of clip would have been uncomfortable, while this one is just super neutral and barely there. So they were probably smart, but they may have been forced into doing it, right? I don't think any other clip would have been a good idea on this knife. So, thankfully they didn't try to stick a budget clip on this thing. And there's a brass backspacer and pivot collars. I believe that is brass. It doesn't look like copper, it looks like brass. And a hidden lanyard post for those who care, which is some, I suppose. So, there's nothing strictly wrong with this knife. It's just, it's a bit too expensive, right? It doesn't fall into that under 75 or 75 and under category for budget knives. And it's not really doing anything to justify its, like, price tag in the 90s. If you can get it for sale or something like that, I'd say it's recommendable. They even managed to do relatively little, like, billboarding. I mean, that's pretty off to the side, and I don't love seeing the code, but it's not too bad. It's small in there. There's a lot of crazy funkiness going on here, especially with these ergos that are surprisingly accommodating, honestly. But the price just feels like it's a bit too much for what you're looking at here. Honestly, even the contoured micarta, just, I don't know. It just doesn't feel like it's offering... How should I put it? I can see part of why it's a bit more than a budget knife, right? Contoured micarta, titanium pocket clip. I gotcha. That can make sense in certain circumstances, though I can also point out a few knives that have contoured scales and a titanium pocket clip and are under the budget territory with comparable steel. But this one, being as big as it is, it does feel like it justifies maybe like an $80 price point, but it is more expensive than that. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm not saying it's not recommendable. If you like it, if you like the design, if it really speaks to you, if it's something that just really works for you, it's a good knife. You'll be fine and happy with it. You just gonna pay a little bit more than maybe you want to. It's also a little bit of a chunky knife in weight because it has no milling on the inside. Just to mention that, and there's no weight reduction in there. So, and that's probably to help with the balance, which is about there. Primary grip. So that's about where you want it, and that, let's be honest, that weight and lack of milling is countering that blade size and thickness and height. So that's a bit all I have to say. I'm not gonna say it's the most recommendable knife, but it definitely is doing something different. It's definitely got its own aesthetic, and if that speaks to you, I mean, go for it. There is also a premium version of this knife, which is actually, I think, more appropriately priced with full titanium and a S90V, frag pattern titanium, I believe it is. I think there's only a frag pattern one. Those are actually, arguably, for what you're getting there, the better offer here. If you like the design, if you're okay with slightly thicker geometry, if you're interested in general. So, yeah, that's it. Going to end the summary here. Just a quick little overview and look as usual. Full review will be linked in the description, and I appreciate anybody watching or even considering to watch. I appreciate it all. Have a great day, Pete guys and gals and whoever and whatever. Maybe cows. If there's cows watching, I'd like to know. I'd like to know about that. That would interest me. But I will end things here and see you guys in the next one.